Hello? Hello, are we live out there? Hey, if anybody out there knows how to make everything go perfect every time you try it, and you know how to stretch time to however much you need, could you come and see us after this day today? Well, we're glad to be here. We did have to do a little rearranging. You'll find out more about that as we go through the day. But, you know, we got one life. We're here. Let's celebrate. Let's be happy.
Might be crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. Hot air balloon, I could go to space. Yeah, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone. If you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Yeah, give me all you got, don't hold back. Yeah, well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. Yeah, no offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy alone. If you know what happiness is to you. Happy me down, no, bring me down, on levels too high. Bring me down, on up there. Bring me down, bring me down, on up there. You can bring me down, my levels too high. Bring me down, can't run on and on. Bring me down, because I'm happy alone. If you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone. If you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone. If you know what happiness is to you. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm happy alone. If you feel like that's what you want to do. Yeah, come on. Happy down, happy down, let us do hey, bring me down on up there, bring me down, yeah. Happy alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy alone if you know what happiness is to you. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm happy alone if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Jason, I don't have any guitar in this.
Where is
here.
my
Does it sound great out there? Good. Well, that's all that really matters. I may play a few wrong notes, but as long as you can hear it good
Yeah, I
out
know.
there, we'll go with it.
I think I'm there.
I've got Not much in the monitor still, but is there something out there? Thank you. Technical. Are you here? You're not hearing his guitar at all. All right.
No.
Let's see what we got. Now we got it? Good. How we doing? I can't hear this one out front still. I'm in my ears yet. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll just go with what we got there and
Stephen,
regroup when we can. Right now,
I did just turn the guitar up
as
to
long
you.
as you can
Your
hear
own
it,
guitar up to you a
we'll be
lot.
fine. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, sister, know the water's sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Hey, brother, do you still believe in one another? Hey, sister, do you still believe in love? I wonder. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I fall through home? What if I lose it all? Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Y'all want to stand up like we used to do? Oh, yeah.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, sister, do you still believe in love? I wonder. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I fall from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. What if I lose it all? Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Sean with us for the first time. Sean Donovan. And he rocks. Guitar and vocals.
Thank you. All right, we're going to turn it over to our host for the day, Give him a round of applause, Mr. Adam Newton.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Assembly Nashville. So nice to see everybody again. This is our, second time doing this back after 2 years and 2 months, I think, of doing everything virtual. So the fact that we can still have these things and people come out is awesome. Thank you for showing up, and it's important. We really appreciate it. But we are here for all sorts of reasons today. Great familiar faces, some faces we don't always see all the time, but we had an amazing speaker lined up, all of these awesome plans that we're pivoting on just a tiny bit. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news at the start, but unfortunately, Dave will not be joining us in person today as our speaker. He is under the weather and taking all the precautions necessary. We will hear from him later, as well as a bunch of friends of Dave's. So in the spirit of everything that he stands for, we're going to forge on ahead. Sound okay? Yeah. Excellent. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers in this room. Happy Mother's Day to all of those women who support their children, who serve as mothers in other capacities that nobody needs to define, right? Like, thank you for all that you do for us. Understand that this is not always the easiest day for every individual, and we acknowledge that, we recognize you, and we're just grateful that you're here with us today. So, as I'm kicking off the conversation today, and I won't be long, I promise, I was really excited about having today's assembly for a couple of reasons. First of all, the last assembly that we had in person, which was like February or March of 2020, we had what I would consider the best assembly that we'd ever had. You know, we've been doing this for like 9 years, and there's always been a theme, and there's always been a speaker. There's always been someone who reads something important. There's always someone who gives something called a trying my best, a way to, share some of the things. Always music, unnamed assembly band. Yay, awesome. We always have a place to go, and in all of those situations, it would seem that the universe aligned for us. We were on this beautiful venue next to Nissan Stadium where the entire skyline was some of you were there, right? Like, where you could see everything, and it was a beautiful day, and the band sounded great, and the room was packed, and Dave was there, and it was so happy, and yet all of us were really uncertain about what was going to happen next. And I remember just in the sound area, somebody said, I think I'm going to throw up. And I was like, oh my God. But it wasn't, they weren't. They were just nervous. But it was obviously a very difficult time. And I don't think anybody would have anticipated what has taken place. And I was equally excited to have Dave come back and talk to us today, 2+ years later, and share all of these amazing things and give this amazing talk. And at the same time, I was very aware that altogether differently, but similar to the unease that we felt back then, many of us are feeling that right now with what's taken place over the past week. And I can only tell you the struggles and the challenges that I personally experience with reconciling all of this, but I know that it's an incredibly scary and tenuous time, and we're here for you. We're here in support of you. I will tell you, we will take a collection later, as we do every month, in honor of Mother's Day and in consideration of everything. We are going to donate the donation to Planned Parenthood of Middle Tennessee. So please give appropriately. And Dave was going to have his books out too, and obviously I don't think he is. So if you can find some time to go buy something online from him, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. But thank you all. All right, so we are now to the next step. Let's actually get into the assembly. So the first thing that we have is to tell you about Sunday Assembly, who we are, what we do. I promise we're going to be quick. What is our motto? Live better, help often, wonder more. If you need any additional assistance in understanding that, talk to us, right? It's very simple. It's core to who we are. Our vision is a Sunday assembly in every town, village in the world that wants one, and we're one of, oh goodness, probably 50 across the globe that are still operating today. We are a secular congregation that celebrates life. We're not going to tell you to the best of our ability how to live it, but we want you to be the best at who you are. So now let's go ahead and get into the actual assembly itself. So I want to welcome Bethany Carter, who is going to be doing our reading today. I don't actually see Bethany. Is she here? Who checked on Bethany this morning? Are you kidding? Oh, she's in traffic? We can pivot. Okay, we'll save that. It's good. We're not going to, if she's on her way, somebody check. If she's on her way and can get here safely, we'll do that later. So then, yeah, okay, so let's actually go into a time when we would normally be introducing Dave to the stage to give, his topic of conversation today. We're going to play a short video from Dave, fresh from his house, giving us a little bit of backstory. And then we're going to hear from, for a few minutes, a good friend of Dave and End of Sunday Assembly, Cass Midgley, who is going to share some stories and reflections. And then we're going to get a chance to hear from some of Dave's friends and share a little bit about the experiences that they had, primarily on the night when all of this really kind of, when Dave talked about it for the first time. So it's going to be a great one, we'll wait for Bethany. We'll ask Jason or Patrick to go ahead and play the video. Are we ready? All right, let's do it.
Hello, Nashville Sunday Assembly. I'm coming to you via this little video because I'm too sick to be there in person. I don't have COVID. I did a test and it's negative, but I've got a severe head cold. My voice is not good. I've been coughing and sneezing, and I just didn't want to hack on you people. I really hate it because Nashville is my hometown. It's like my home church there, and I was so looking forward to being with you today. I was going to read a little excerpt from my book, my memoir, Childish Things, and I was going to talk about that and do some Q&A. And by the way, some of you have asked me about signed copies of that. I was going to sign some books. If you do want a signed hardcover, just send me an email or a message on Facebook, and we'll make arrangements to get you one of those. In the meantime, my good friend Cass Midgley is filling in for me. He's a former preacher as well as me, so he knows how to bullshit just like I do. And he can wing it just like I do. So you'll be okay without me there. There are some other wonderful friends of mine that are going to share some of their thoughts and ideas about a part of the book that Cass is going to read. It's really toward the end of the book, actually the very end, spoiler alert, and some of the reactions that some folks in my community had to me getting diagnosed with a terminal disease, and the idea and the birth of the Dying Out Loud organization and message kind of germinated there and began there. And so that's kind of what you'll be hearing about today, if you didn't already know about that. Again, so sorry I can't see you in person. We're going to look down the calendar and find a different time for me to be there. I really appreciate all you guys' support. I've been traveling all over the country and speaking, and yet the place I was most excited to speak at was, again, my hometown gang there at Sunday Assembly. I know I'm not been a regular participant there, but Nashville is my hometown, and you guys kind of represent Nashville, the secular community there. But Cass will do a great job. You're going to hear from some other great friends of mine. And like I said, we will reschedule me to come and talk with you at a later date, whenever the calendars coincide. So enjoy this excerpt from my book. If you haven't gotten the book yet, I mean, shame on you. No, please get it. I think you'll enjoy it. The feedback has been really, really positive. Write a nice review, by the way, on Amazon if you haven't done that yet. It helps me get the algorithms up and helps other people find the book. I'm trying to reach the lost and convert them to unchristianity or whatever the hell this is that we do. Love you guys. Take care.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day out. I don't know. Sun is shining and a beautiful temperature. I'm just going to take a deep breath, and you can join me if you want. Happy Mother's Day. It was 2 years ago that we were there at the Sunday Assembly at that, I don't know what that building was, but it was a cool building. And, one of the things that's kind of special about today that is Dave's still alive. We didn't know, We have friends and acquaintances and friends of friends who got the ALS diagnosis and were dead within 6 months, and it varies. His is actually, they've kind of given it a name called dangling arm syndrome, and it can go 10 years. And so we don't know, but it's already begun to be difficult for him. He kind of needs to be spoon-fed and help getting dressed, brushing his teeth, these things. His legs are starting to go, and he gets tired really quickly. I think that's why something as simple as a head cold knocked him out this morning or this week. It doesn't take much for him to get tired and unable to travel. And so just appreciate that he's alive today, and then we can celebrate that. I have essential tremor, if you're familiar with that disease, and so I'll try not to hold this because it'll just shake. It's not because I'm nervous, although I am, but it's not because of that. So here's the excerpt from the last chapter of the book. Our monthly mid-Tennessee meetup for ex-Christians was scheduled that night at Eric's house. He was excited to host for the first time since he had separated from his wife and come out as a gay man. I was so excited and happy for him. This was also our first meetup since my diagnosis, and the room was cloudy with sadness. After everyone had small talked over drinks and snacks, we settled into our places for our regular check-in time when we would go around the room and take 4 or 5 minutes each to update the group on what was happening in our lives. This particular night, each person spoke about how he or she was reacting to my diagnosis. I sat perched on my stool near the bar and watched the room descend into a cauldron of grief for which I felt responsible. One by one, each of my friends shared their thoughts. I should have read this ahead of time. Obviously, I read it a month ago, but anyway. So, foggy eyes. That particular night, each person spoke about how he or she was reacting to my diagnosis. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm backed up. There were so many tears, some crying softly, some weeping openly. Cass, never at a loss for words, could barely talk when it came his time. He struggled. That's deja vu. He struggled, remembering the fear he felt when he got the news. Brian was standing directly behind me in the kitchen, and when it was his turn to share, he began to weep. He quit trying to talk and just walked up behind me, wrapped his big arms around me, and cried into my neck. It felt like a funeral, and yet here I was. Across the room, Leanne began to share, and some of these names have been changed, but Leanne began to share a moment when she was getting gassed this week, frustrated at a day full of annoyances, and then checking herself, quote, "Why am I so impatient and annoyed? Dave is dealing with something so much heavier, he wouldn't be sweating the small stuff," unquote, she laughed, breaking the tension in the air. I need some perspective. Dave wouldn't be acting like this. Yeah, what would Dave do? Eric said, laughing. WWDD, someone across the room yelled. Yes, can we make some bracelets? I asked, laughing. And now everyone was laughing, and we needed that so badly. Leanne answered quickly, actually, yes, I can. I make bracelets, and I sell them on Etsy. Kind of a side business, kind of a hobby. I can see what I can come up with. Yeah, that'd be cool, I said, becoming serious, a little reminder of what's important in life. It was Marie's turn to share. I knew it had come time, I knew I had to come to town when I heard, this is her quote, my bad. I knew I had to come to town. She lives up in Minneapolis. I knew I had to come to town when I had heard of Dave's diagnosis, and tears streaming from her eyes, though she was seldom emotional. Quote, I wanted to be here at this meeting. She talked a bit more about priorities and perspectives, and then looked at me again and asked, what do you want to do? Again, the question. Yes, you asked me that this afternoon. I smiled at her. What are you getting at? Dave, you have an important message. Marie said, I saw people around the room nodding. And you have a unique ability to tell it, she continued. And you have a unique story. I don't know how unique it is. Do you know anyone else who used to be an evangelical Christian and a pastor and is now an atheist and has ALS? She asked. Stephen piped up. Dave, more people need to be exposed to you. You changed my life. Stephen was a young man from Chattanooga who had moved to Nashville to be a part of our group. He had grown up in Seventh-day Adventist church and was now an atheist. He was black and gay, a black gay atheist living in the Bible Belt. Quote, you were the first person I began to talk to open up to. You'll be hearing from him later. Eric added, you were the first person I came out to, Dave, both ways, as an atheist and a gay. And he laughed and looked around. You were the first person I used the word atheist with, and the first person I told I was gay. Something about you gave me the confidence to do that. I don't know if I would be here today if I hadn't, okay, who's saying this? Okay, Brian says, I don't know if I would be here today if I hadn't had those talks back when I was struggling. Janine says, you gave me the courage to be myself, watching how you live. You showed me that it could be done. Cass says, you are like a brother I never had. One by one, people around the room opened up and shared their hearts, encouraging me, loving me, and it was as if they wanted to assure me that I wasn't dying, that I had a lot to live for. I'd known since I was a young man that I was ill-equipped for life as an adult. I knew I wasn't prepared to be a husband or father. I was always aware of my insecurities and fears. Whatever had lodged in me as a child had never been cleaned out. It always felt like a splinter that had festered and infected the whole of me. But then I'd given my life to Jesus, and I thought I'd be cleansed by his blood. It was late in life before I realized that was a fantasy, and I was going to need to handle my weakness myself. By then, much of the damage was done. But in the past few years, I found my strength, my voice, and these people around the room were telling me that my voice needed to be heard. I was the last to share that night, and everybody seemed to want it that way. I struggled to speak. My emotions had been bubbling near the surface for a couple of hours, and now they spilled out. I finally collected myself. I don't know how long I have. Could be a year or two. Could be 5, 10 years. With ALS, you just don't know. I paused and gazed around the room, looking at these friends bunched on Eric's brown leather couch, some lounging on the dark patterned rug, others perched on the chair arms. At first, I thought I just wanted to travel and enjoy life as much as I could. I continued, raising one hand toward the door, as if to reference the big world outside. And I'm going to do some of that. But now, I don't know. That somehow now feels kind of shallow and selfish. I looked down at my new fashionable chukka boots, wondering how long I would be able to lace and tie them. I started hesitantly. I think I do want to spend my last years doing something that matters. And I glanced at Kelly, who was nodding vigorously, tears in her eyes. I picked up speed. I want to talk about important issues, life and death, how we live and how we die. I looked around the room, I looked around at the faces, and there was a tiny but perceptible shift in the room's energy. Each person seemed to straighten their posture a bit, lean forward, or lift a chin. I'd like to talk about Christianity and atheism and how evangelicalism has done damage to people, to us. I suddenly realized this vague abstraction was personal. It wasn't some theoretical ideology that was fun to debate. It had become concrete. I wanted to do battle with it, with the ideas that really do hurt people, that had hurt my friends. Adam, I turned to him sitting on the floor. I will never forget watching you weep at last year's retreat, talking about waking up with night sweats. Adam himself was an ex-pastor who had done 3 tours in Afghanistan. Yeah, the fear of hell still haunts me, he said. It's worse than the PTSD. Adam's face contracted, and I realized I was angry again. And Lauren, what you experienced, I turned to her. Rape and church leadership just covered it up. That is so fucked up, Cass interrupted. And how many of us in the room had suffered sexual abuse? How many daughters assaulted by fathers and pastors? Cass was getting angry. We all knew how common that was in evangelical culture. As Cass spoke, I looked at Eric and remembered his telling me about the gay conversion therapy he'd been subjected to and the trauma that still resonated with him from that experience. I glanced around the room at Mike and Veronica, who were afraid to come out as atheists to their evangelical family members for fear of losing those relationships, and at Mark and his fractured family relationships. And we were just one small group of religious trauma survivors in one small town. The scope of this plague widened before me. It felt like the moment when I had looked over a ridge and had seen the Grand Canyon for the first time. The sheer vastness of it overwhelmed my senses. I started again. I think I do want to talk about these things. In fact, I think I really need to talk about these things. Your voice could make a difference, Dave, Eric said. Maybe the enormity of the problem made me wonder, could my own voice make a difference? I didn't know, but I knew I had to try. Okay, I don't know how to go about it. Marie says, I do, smiling, like she had a secret. How's that, I asked. I can get you on shows, book you on podcasts and on YouTube shows, she said. Her smile was firm and a little proud. A few people drew in their breath, began nodding. Really, how would you do that? Last page. I'll just start emailing them, she said. Tell them your story, ask them to book you on their show. I could see her starting mental lists, developing a plan in her head under that short, choppy haircut. Kelly chimed in. Marie, can you get him booked at secular groups? They're always looking for speakers. Brian laughed. Put those preaching skills to good use. I felt something rising up within me. It felt like maybe hope. I had been handed a death sentence a little more than a month ago, but suddenly I felt a new energy coursing through me, an electricity bubbling at the nape of my neck. I smiled at Marie. If you can book me, I can talk. Everyone laughed again. I don't know if anyone will want me on their shows or want to have me speak, but if they do, I think I have a lot to share. I can manage it, Marie said. I'm good at this stuff. We can make it a whole thing. A thing, I asked. Yeah, a thing, Marie laughed. No, seriously, an organization, maybe even a nonprofit. I looked at her. I could feel the curiosity and anticipation in my friends as my friends waited on me to answer this call. For the first time, I thought something positive might come from my diagnosis, and this felt like something I could do, something I wanted to do. Wanting, desire, suddenly felt like the very essence of living. Christianity had taught me that desire was wrong, that life is about sacrifice and denial of self. But that night in Eric's living room, surrounded by my closest friends, I once again said no to that martyrdom and consciously chose desire, life. This felt like it would give the balance of my life more meaning and purpose than anything I'd done as a Christian. Instead of dying, I'd be living. And I thought to myself, what a way to go out. I Check. So, some of us that were there that night and were impacted by Dave's life regularly, just about a month ago, 14 of us went on a cruise with Dave. And we'd never been on a cruise, some of us. And because of that, the friends involved, I mean, I don't think I would have enjoyed it a fraction as much if I was just, with a few people. But it was a party for a week. And that's the kind of stuff that, his cliche, I think I can say this, carpe the fucking diem, So he has taught us all that we better get busy living. And, just because he has a diagnosis and it's literally on the not on the calendar, but it's coming and it's impending and it's much closer than it would be if he were to die a natural death, we could all die on the way home this afternoon. So it just brings it home as far as carpe diem. So as anybody that was impacted by Dave, or even especially that night, just raise your hand and I'll bring it.
I'm Ashley, and or Leanne. Hi, I'm Leanne, everybody, from the book. I was there that night, and when I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I actually went back through my journal, and I found the entry where I processed learning about Dave's diagnosis, and I felt like that was just the most fitting thing to share. 2 weeks ago, I learned Dave Warnock was diagnosed with ALS. I was in the bedroom nursing Noella when I found out, and I immediately burst into tears. The unfairness of it all, the finality of it all, the bleakness of it all. There is no fight against ALS. There is no marginal hope for victory over ALS. There is no better or worse treatment. There's just gradual and sometimes aggressive deterioration. It's a one-way track. Not Dave, not someone who loves life and loves people so well. Not someone who just started truly living his life. Not someone who just reclaimed agency over his own life. And now he's at the mercy of a failing body. I'm so mad at this disease. I hate that it strikes willy-nilly. It doesn't pick and choose, not that there would ever be anyone who deserves this. I'm devastated by Dave's diagnosis, and I've only known him less than 2 years. It's a gut check regarding our mortality. It's made me think about death and what it truly means to live. It's reminded me how crystal clear the meaningful stuff becomes and how suddenly easy it is to let go of the rest. I first encountered that sharp clarity when my own father was ill and after he passed. I promised myself I would never again forget where that line lies, the one between meaningful and meaningless, the one between significant and trivial. And I must say, I've done a decent job of keeping my priorities in order and holding on to joy, but this recent development with Dave has refreshed my memory. I'm renewed with a sense of gratitude, a healthy perspective, and a propensity toward letting go of noise, negativity, and drama. I've watched Dave respond to his diagnosis with a courageous heart and a bold attitude, and it's inspired me to do the same. The fact is, life is short and life is long, and the trouble is we just never know which one we've got. But Dave does. He's got a death sentence with some lead time, and he knows his days are numbered, and he is wasting no time making them count. In the last 2 weeks, he's retired and planned about 6 trips, in addition to the one he'd already planned with us to meet up in Naples, Italy in May. I understand we can't all just stop working and spend money and travel, but we are all dying. It's just that most of us don't know how long we have left, and for all we know, someone in our circle could pass away before Dave, and I hope to goodness that if they do, they are choosing to live each day between now and then. Truly live. I know I am. P.S. I stamped a metal coin for Dave that says, "Fuck ALS, grab a moment."
Hi, I'm Janine in the book, and I'm Janine here. I also knew about the diagnosis ahead of that meeting and went into it knowing it was going to be very emotional, and wanted to share with Dave, and I have been sharing all along, but to say it out loud, that he had inspired me to make decisions I'd been putting off for years in terms of just seizing the day. And the thing that impacted me the most about that group was there were a ton of people there that night that normally didn't come to our meetings. And you would have expected it would be just joyous. But it was despite the grief, because for the first time in my life, I saw people actually admit that death is real and there's no ever after, and we just have this person in front of us who we love and we want to cherish longer. And we were talking about how he impacted our life. All the things you normally say at a funeral, we said to him that night. And I felt safe. And those of you who come out of evangelical traditions, you know what I mean. Sharing in a Bible study or in a prayer meeting is not safe. Sharing in that room was safe. And I think it's partly because Dave, along with Cass, had created this environment where it was expected to be safe because we were going to be real. We were going to be authentic. And he continues to inspire me daily. Watching him on the trip was sad and exciting at the same time because he's living every moment. But one of the things I realized looking back on that night was I had this sense of selfishness in the moment because I realized in that moment we were going to be sharing Dave with other people rather than just our small group. And I had gotten very comfortable with that small group, and I still am. But I recognized the need for him to speak his truth so that other people can know they can live free.
Thank you. Anybody else? Stephen's going to get a chance later. Todd, you want to say anything? So Marie, who was my guest host, a co-host on my show, Everyone's Agnostic, for the latter years, did, in fact, book Dave on over 100 podcasts and YouTubes. And he has a mojo, right? I mean, like, the guy wings it everywhere he goes. And his charisma. And I think we can know now, those of us that graduated out of Christianity, that charisma is what drives church growth. It's human. There's no God. It's the charisma and the power of humans. And I was talking with a friend the other day about all of us have our gifts, have our weaknesses, and there's just a spectrum, right? That's just all there is to it. There's people better than you and there's people worse than you at basketball. I mean, just pick something. And there's people that just have something that it's just, I mean, you could say Mick Jagger, Bono, I mean, like just Martin Luther King Jr. There's something about them that is just magical, and it's not supernatural, it's just human, and the humans are amazing. I'm in a place of real awe about it, and brief. Like our little bitty life is just really, really small. Ashley did go on to make those bracelets. Some of you maybe even already have some of them, but I know he didn't mention it, but his book is available on hard and paperback and audio, where he reads it, and ebook or the Kindle thing. And then also there's other merchandise available at Dying Out Loud. It's not dyingoutloud.com, is it? What is it? Dave Out Loud, yeah. Dying Out Loud was already taken. So it's Dave Out Loud, and there's T-shirts and the bracelets probably and stickers and stuff. And we just got back from the American Atheist Convention in Atlanta a couple weeks back, where some of us folks were there. So we sold almost 100 books at that table that week, from Thursday to Sunday. And it was just really sweet for people to come by. And I was manning the table the whole weekend, and everybody, I mean, I should say 90% of the people that stopped by the table had already seen him, especially on Atheist Experience. I mean, Matt Dillahunty's show is massive as far as the coverage, and Dave's been on there like 10 times. And so he had a lot of fans, and it was really sweet. Any questions before I give over the mic? I do apologize, on his behalf that he couldn't be here. We were all excited to see him again, and he wanted to be here, but obviously couldn't. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you, Cass, and everyone who who contributed. I was curious, like, who are the aliases? And they're in this room. My God. Terrific. Okay, well, hi, Bethany. I promise we're good. We'll wonderful. I'm glad you can make it. Let's take this moment as our moment of mindfulness now. Nothing will we hear, an opportunity to be quiet in the moment, just be together, reflect on the story, the insight, concept of like, how now shall we live with the moments that we have. So let's just take a moment and ponder that for a second.
And 3, 2, 1, thank you.
That was cool. I was wondering how we were getting out of that. I lost count, and so I'm going to invite the unnamed assembly band to start coming on the stage. But in the meantime, let's invite Bethany Carter to the stage for our reading today. Bethany's been a long time Sunday assembler. You all know and love her, and she's going to do a reading today by the author Casey Trommer called Self-Lit, and I believe some reflections as well. So please welcome Bethany.
I see how it is. You're humming through the streets, self-lit. I have to correct strangers who touch your head without asking, as if to bless you or to take a blessing from you. When we leave the city, you become a boy hunting locusts. Nature stuns you. You load up your pockets and want to bring it home with us. But nature stays with nature, I say, a refrain learned from another mother. You cannot be unpuzzled by things, but you marshal all your sweet bravado for me, who tries but never beats you in a game of chess. I witness the rook and queen moving inside your thinking, squaring and hewing to pathways of wins, losses. Childhood's ends is always menacing. Apparent places of stars mark its outer limits. It heaves up in you when you lose, when you rage, when you're afraid. Glowering out of a fever dream, your eyes shine as you confess in the dark, I was the monster. You show me a hornet's nest on a bed of cotton, hold it up as an offering. I wonder with you at what you hold. Summer rivers that show bracken corners, agate marbles, dagger wings of our days in the city built of strangers, in a country built of sky. When I pull you close, what will flee trembles in you. Now, side note about this poem, the first time I read it, kind of made me sob. It's by Casey Trommer, and she pretty much talks about how, and I'll just read the little thing at the bottom here because I just thought it was beautiful. Motherhood is a constant negotiation between being needed and being set aside. Children do the latter in part because they trust we will always be there. Hers says, since my son is an only child, he carries the weight of all my love, which of course is slightly terrifying for us both. I wrote this poem while thinking about how to protect him and in the full knowledge that one day he'll walk off into his life, making me a minor character. Which is, of course, the whole point of raising an independent person. So it's fleeting and it's beautiful, and to just cherish those moments. Thank you.
Took my love, I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? The child within my heart cries above, and I sail through the changing ocean tide, and I handle the seasons of my Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Take my love. Oh, sorry. 'Cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older. Take my love, take it down. Climb a mountain and you turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide bring you down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills,
Oh, I don't want your microphone. I was just telling you how beautiful that was.
Oh,
Okay.
thanks. Hey, heads up, Adam, real quick. Don't tell Jason, the sound man, but I am wearing headphones or earbuds that are from American Airlines. They're
Well,
the
that's-
ones that you get like on the plane to listen to movies.
Ah, see?
Don't tell anybody though.
They work. You sounded great. Give it up for that named assembly, man. That was beautiful. All right, and we've reached the point in our assembly, and we're closing in on the end, but where we have our trying my best. And one of the things that I've grown to very much love about this community is that there are friends of Sunday Assembly. There are people here who show up all the time, and Stephen is one of them. And then there are individuals who come in and out of our circle, and almost as if we're here, and we're here, we can be part of it and together and find these commonalities with these other groups that are doing such important work. And the overlap is inspiring. Stephen Barry is going to give us our trying my best, and he's got a story about Dave as well, I believe. So please welcome Stephen to the stage.
Just an FYI, I'm freestyling this, so, however it comes is however it comes. So I'm a recovering binary thinker, and I am that way because Christianity molded me to be that way. And when I left, I realized that my entire world was neatly put in a box, and I was having to answer questions that I had never even thought of. And that led me to search for other humans that I could connect with and have real conversations with. And Dave Warnock was one of those people. And I hadn't even met him. I was going from one secular Facebook group to the next, and Dave would leave these amazing comments that made me feel like, oh, this is someone that actually cares about people and that loves people, and I got to figure out how I can meet this guy. I didn't know anything about him, but I sent him a friend request, and he responded, and we started talking, and he told me about this guy named Cass Midgley who did a podcast, and introduced me to him, and so on and so forth. I ended up in Nashville because of him, and I started hanging around him and hanging around Cass and Todd and Janine and Ashley and Mason and all of these people that were going through the same kind of journey that I was, and just becoming more of themselves. And I started becoming more of myself by default. And the binary way that I used to approach life started to fade away. And I started to see people instead of judging them. And I started to see myself and stop judging myself. Still a work in progress. But yeah, Dave changed my life, and that's why I said that, and apparently it stuck out enough for him to put it in the book. So but yeah, I remember I used to visit him when I didn't even live in Nashville, and we would walk around Church Street, and I would talk to him about my mom and the fact that I hadn't come out to her and that I was never going to come out to her. And he would just give me hypotheticals. He was like, okay, what's the worst that could happen if you came out? And I really started to think about it. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe we wouldn't talk, or maybe she would get upset or whatever. He's like, okay, well, what happens after that? And I was like, I don't know. And he pushed me to really think about it, because I had long ago decided that I'm never going to tell my mom. I had gotten to a point where I was like, I'm going to tell my friends. I'm going to figure out, what is this gay thing? What is that? But I'm never going to tell her. And Dave helped me to challenge that. And, we still don't talk. And she's on my mind because it's Mother's Day. But, I'm the happiest that I have ever been in my life, because I am free and I have people around me that love me and accept me for who I am. And, it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. So, I can actually try my best instead of looking at my best as filthy rags. So, yeah, that's it.
That was terrific. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. You're a great riffer. So freestyle all you want. That's great. I wish we are going to take some time, and I think, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we're going to have a donation. We have literal hats. Is that the word, literal? To pass the hat. Yes. So for those of you who are manning hats or arming hats or whatever, remember that all of the donations that we're making today are going to Planned Parenthood. You can donate via the hat, or you can go to Sunday Assembly. I think we have online abilities as well. Am I correct in saying that? PayPal. It's somewhere around there, but find a way to contribute if you can. We really appreciate it. We're going to take a few minutes for announcements, and just to get everybody squared away there, and then I'll have some very quick closing thoughts, and we'll get on out of here. So can we put some announcements up on the screen for us? Do we have any? Awesome. Patrick, I know, is one of the individuals who is primarily responsible for NanoCon. And who here knows what NanoCon is? Yeah. All right. Well, here's Patrick to give you a little bit about NanoCon and what's coming up. All right.
Hey, everybody. It is now confirmed July 30th this year is going to be the 5th annual Nashville Nuns Convention. And we're super excited about it. For anybody who might not know what NanoCon is, it's just a get-together that happens every year for people like ourselves who happen to not have a religion, and it's a place for us to hang out and hear cool speakers. And if you were looking forward to, like I was, to maybe hearing from Dave Warnock today, well, I really, really hope that he can be, that you guys can be there and he can be there and we can all hang out together. If you would like to find out more about it, the website up there is pretty easy. It's nanocon.rocks. And also, if you would like to help make it happen, so many people in Sunday Assembly are so key to the volunteers and the group effort that it takes to make all this happen. So I'll be here afterwards, or reach out on the website. But anyways, see you guys July 30th.
I honestly thought NanoCon was like a super original name until I saw the .rocks after it, and it's like, how far down NanoCon list do you have to get to? Like, there's .info, .com, but .rocks, that's a thing. Terrific. Volunteers, folks, there are all sorts of ways. If you aren't already aware, Sunday Assembly is 100% volunteer driven. We are a registered 501c3. We need your help to do all of these wonderful things and continue to build on the work that we've all done here together. So please, whether it's sound, music, hosting, all of the pieces, we want your help. And if you feel strongly about what we're trying to do here, we'll ask you to do the same. Are there any other really important important any important announcements that I need to make while we're here? Next Assembly is a month from now, right? Second Sunday of the month. Excellent. So please do show up for that. Second Sunday of every month. And we're going to be right here, right? Again? Awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and have the band come up as we get ready. I've got a couple of just closing thoughts. I know that the actual theme of today was putting away childish things and binary thinking and the like. I think a lot about the events of the last week and the conversations that even in our own circles have appeared based on what's happening. And the realization that many people have, many young people have, is that this idea of if this or that, and from a thinking standpoint, it's not black or white. It's not only this, it's not only that. There are stories, there are scenarios, there are situations that we can't possibly grasp as individuals or as a collective, and account for all of the pieces to this very difficult argument. All that I know personally is that your autonomy is yours and needs to stay that way. And in lieu of, or in respect out of Mother's Day, especially for the men here today, I want to encourage and challenge you to make sure that every single woman in your life, no matter what age they are, that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are their ally, that you are there for them. They are confused, they are angry, they are not sure who's on their side. Not make sure that they know that you are, right? Make sure that you're there to support them regardless of the situation. And that's the best thing that we can do, I think. So anyway, those are my closing thoughts. Just so grateful for all of you to come. Let's say thank you to Jason and Patrick and Rod and Josh and Stephen with the lights and all these wonderful folks who have helped out so much. Let's give a round of applause to this amazing unnamed Assembly band. You all are, and we have potluck afterwards, right? Like we're going to do something, there's food and stuff afterwards, hang out. All right, send us all out there, band. Thank you very much.
That's the reason I'm here, is for potluck. Hey, this one's going to sound great the louder you sing. So, hey, we'll take your help on it.
I felt this way. Now I don't mind where I get taken. The road is calling. Today is the day. I can see it took so long just to realize I'm much too strong not to compromise. Everything that I am is holding me down. And I'll turn it around. Hey, yes I will.
They just take names.
Well, that was a pretty good sing-along, but I think this one even tops it. And man, what a message. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Here, girls, here's your starting notes.
We'll be singing when we're winning. We'll be singing.
Well, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
Sipping the night away. Sipping the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink. He sings songs that remind him of the good time, sings the songs that remind him of the better time.
Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
Sipping the night away. Sipping the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink. He sings the songs that remind him of the good times, sings the songs that remind him of the better times.
Don't
Cry for me, next door neighbor. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down.
Up again.
But I get up again.
Then we get up again. All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here today. Now, if you'll make your way down the hall, you can enjoy some of that potluck down there. We will be there as a band in moments. Thank you.